What's up guys, Shane Starnes here with Droid Modder X, and I finally have the Galaxy S9. Big shout outs to Verizon for sending me a demo unit so that I could go ahead and get started with my coverage. There are several things that you're going to want to do to set up your Galaxy S9 once you've run through the initial setup. In this video, we're going to cover the first 10 things that you should do with your Galaxy S9. Let's go ahead and get started. First up, you're going to want to set up your phone's security. Now, the beauty of the Galaxy S9 is that it has several options for setting up security. That way, if you lay your phone down, some stranger can't just pick up your phone and have access to all of your information. So if we jump into our settings, we go down to lock screen and security. You'll see that you have the intelligent scan. Intelligent scan uses both face recognition and iris scanner. That way you'll be able to unlock your phone with your face no matter what the lighting condition. Normally face recognition is good for situations where you have a lot of light, and iris scanner is better for your indoor usage or places where you have low light. You can set those up individually. The iris scanner, of course, is a little more secure. If you use intelligent scan, it's going to make the best of both worlds, and you'll be able to unlock your phone with your face regardless of lighting conditions. Of course, we do have a fingerprint scanner, and it's in a much better place than what we had on the Galaxy Note 8. No longer is it near the camera where you can smudge the lens. It's right there in the center of the back of the phone where it's just easier to access. So this one works a little bit differently than what I'm used to. You're gonna actually scan your whole finger, and you're gonna do that several times. That way it gets your entire fingerprint. So we'll go ahead and turn that on, and then I'll lock the screen. Try that again. It's gonna take a little bit of getting used to where the fingerprint scanner is. That seemed to be a little easier than having to set up the fingerprint scanner and then go through that process again to get a better fingerprint. Of course, you can add multiple fingerprints. I normally like to go with my index finger on both hands. All right, and then we'll set up the intelligent scan real quick. All right, so just that simply, the face has been registered, and then we'll continue into the iris scanner. Once you have that set up, you can turn on your intelligent scan, and you can actually have the intelligent scan and your fingerprint scan and your pen lock all enabled at the same time. That way you can just choose in the moment what you would prefer to use. I like the fact that we have all of those awesome choices, and face unlock seems to be pretty quick as well. And it seems to work all the time. One thing that you may not know about the Galaxy S9 is that launching the camera is as simple as double pressing the power button. You can actually launch the camera from any state, so whether your device is sleeping or you're inside of an application, you can just double press the power button, and that's going to turn on your camera. The first time you do it here, you're gonna get a notification that says pressing the power key quickly twice opens the camera. Keep this function turned on. I would say keep it on. This is just the easiest and quickest way to access your camera. That way, no matter what's going on, you'll be able to capture the moment. You won't have to miss it because you had to unlock your phone, you had to open up the camera application. It's just really simple and easy to quickly launch the camera. One thing that Samsung has added to the Galaxy S9 is landscape mode from the home screen. Now, where this would come in handy is if you're watching Netflix or you're watching YouTube and your phone's like this. When you go back to your home screen, the home screen is in vertical mode, which means you got to turn your phone back. Samsung really wants you to be able to use your phone as a media consumption device. So when you're switching between media players, it's nice to be able to go back to the home screen and still use your phone in landscape mode. So in order to enable that, we'll go into our settings, we'll go into display, we'll go into home screen, and where it says portrait mode only, go ahead and disable that. And then whenever you go back to your home screen, it will rotate into landscape mode with you. So if you're doing something like Netflix or YouTube, you can actually go back to the home screen and you won't have to turn your phone back up to portrait mode. The Galaxy S9 also has an always-on display. This allows you to see notifications without having to wake up your device. It also allows you to access the music player, and you can see the date and time without having to wake up your device. But there's all kinds of different settings that you can enable on the always-on display. We'll go ahead and set up some of those now. So you just go into your settings, go into lock screen and security, scroll down to always on display, and you'll see here that you have all kinds of settings here. You can choose what information is shown, the home button and clock, or just the clock, or just the home button. You can choose to enable or disable auto brightness. If you have it enabled and say you have your phone sitting next to your bed, it's not going to be super bright, lighting up your entire room. Or if you're outside and you need to be able to see it, it's going to be a little bit brighter so that you can actually see it. By default, the always on display will not always show. It's only going to show when there's some action with the phone. That means that if it's sitting on your desk for a prolonged period of time, in order to save some battery life, the always on display won't always be on. It's actually going to shut down. If you want it to always be on, you'll go ahead and toggle that on. Maybe you always want it on during the day, but you'd rather it not be on at night while you're sleeping. You can set up a schedule here. So it's by default at 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. It's always going to be on between those hours, and then it will be off at night while you're sleeping. There's also some options to change the clock setup here, so we'll do that real quick. Just go into your settings, go into lock screen and security, go to clock and face widgets, go into clock style, and you can change your clock style here. You can also change the color. And if you hit apply, whenever you go back to your always on display, those settings will be applied. Now, if you go into the face widgets, you have a few other settings here. You can choose to turn on or off your music controller, the schedule, or the next alarm notification within the always on display. All right, so if we go back to the lock screen and security settings, you have a setting here for smart lock. This is great because you can turn off your security settings, so your pin lock, your intelligent scan, and your fingerprint scanner in certain situations. So in trusted places, you can actually add your house or your home as a trusted place. That way, when you enter your home at the end of the day, you don't have to worry about unlocking your device. It will be unlocked and ready to use. Also, if you have a trusted device nearby, say you're using Bluetooth with your car stereo, and maybe you have your phone in a phone holder and you can't really access the fingerprint scanner, if you turn on trusted devices, your phone will remain unlocked as long as you're near that stereo system. It just makes it easier to access your phone when you know that there's no one around that's going to be breaking into your phone. If we jump into the sounds and vibration, you'll want to go ahead and set up your do not disturb. So when you have do not disturb on, you're not going to receive any calls or texts or any notifications whatsoever. This is great for the nighttime while you're sleeping. You don't want to be woken up by something that's not important, or say you're going into a meeting or something formal where you really don't need a disturbance. Do not disturb is great for that. You can also turn on a schedule, which is really cool because say you want do not disturb to be turned on every day of the week from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. You can set that up there. You can also set up some exceptions. Out of the box, it's going to have the exception of the alarm. That way, even if you turn on do not disturb, your alarm will wake you up in the morning. And then if you have a very important person, you can actually set up a custom exception. That way, that person can still be able to get in touch with you via text or calls, even when do not disturb is turned on. All right, next up, we will set up the nav bar. So you'll just go into your display, go all the way down to navigation bar, and you have some options here. You can actually change the color of your nav bar. It's super subtle, and only you are probably going to notice the difference. You can also choose the pressure sensitivity of your home button. So this always takes you home regardless of what application you're in. If you press and hold the home button, it's going to take you back to the home screen, but it is pressure sensitive. By default, it's set to 3 out of 5. If you need that to be a little less sensitive, you can go ahead and turn that down, or if you need it to be stronger, you can make it stronger there. If you want to turn off the hard press home button feature, you can turn that off altogether. All right, and then you can set up your button layout. So by default, you have your multi-window, your home, and your back. If you're used to standard Android, you may need that reversed with the back button over here, the home button in the center, and the Recents app over to the side. One very underrated feature that Samsung offers on their devices is Smart Stay. What Smart Stay does is it enables the screen to stay on as long as you're looking at your phone. So if you're reading through a lengthy article, your phone's not just going to automatically fall asleep while you're trying to read that article. Or if you're looking at a certain photo or just whatever you happen to be doing, It's not going to cut you off in the middle of that and turn your screen off. You'll go into advanced features and then turn on the smart stay. While we are in the advanced features, go ahead and scroll down to Video Enhancer. Video Enhancer allows you to enhance the image quality of your videos, which is going to make them brighter and more vivid. So it's going to take full advantage of that OLED display in all of your video applications. As soon as you launch them and play a video, if you have Video Enhancer turned on, you're going to get those richer, more vivid colors and the brighter image. Now it's turned off by default strictly to save battery life, but if you turn it on there, you're going to get the higher quality video. While we're on the topic of video quality, if you jump back into display quality, you'll notice that by default, the screen resolution is set to 1080p. Now you have a QHD Plus screen on the Galaxy S9. Why not take full advantage of all of those pixels? In order to do that, you're just going to simply slide this over to the WQHD Plus. That's going to give you all the pixels that are included in your Infinity display, and click apply. Once again, the reason that it is disabled by default, or it's set to 1080p by default, is to save on some battery life. So if you decide that the battery life is more important, you can go back in there and set that back up to 1080p. So you might also want to take a moment to set up your home screen. If you press and hold in the center, you can either add screens by pressing the plus button or hit the trash button to remove those screens. You're able to put a custom wallpaper in. The phone comes with several by default. You can even apply a custom theme. You can choose custom icons, and you can set up your widgets here. So if you want a clock widget that's different from the clock widget that it comes with, or if you want to add any other contact widgets, calendar widgets, you can do that here. And then we have some home screen settings here. So you can actually change the grid layout for more applications on the home screen. You can change the home screen layout. So if you'd prefer the home screen only, where all your applications end up on your home screen, then you can choose that there. That would give you more iOS-like experience. Personally, I prefer a cleaner home screen with a separate app screen, which is what it is by default. Of course, to access that, you just swipe up to get to your app screen. If we go back to the home screen settings here, you can actually add an apps button to your home screen. I prefer just swiping up. And then there's an option here for the quick open notification panel. If you select that, you can just pull down on the screen to open up your notification panel instead of having to reach all the way to the top. So that may be something that you consider. All right, and while we are talking about the home screen, so if you're like me, you prefer Google Assistant over Bixby. For me, Bixby has just never really been that useful, and it's kind of redundant to have Bixby, in my opinion, when you already have a fully capable Google Assistant. One thing that's really annoying is when you press on the Bixby button, it's going to open up Bixby. So you can actually disable the Bixby key, just launch Bixby and toggle the Bixby key off. That way you don't accidentally enable it. And then you can even disable the Bixby screen altogether. So that way if you accidentally swipe over there, it's not launching Bixby. To do that, just press and hold the home screen and then scroll over and toggle Bixby Home off. All right, guys, that about wraps it up for the first 10 things to do on the Galaxy S9. We covered a few more than 10 things to do, but hopefully this will give you a better overall experience on your brand new Galaxy S9. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more content like this in the future. You can find more of me at droidmodderx.com. Follow me on Twitter at droidmodderx. Thanks, guys, for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.